Hello friends, welcome to Padhai Se Dosti YouTube channel. In today's video session, we are going to discuss about the historiography in the post-independence era. Okay, so this is the last bit of chapter number 2, that is a historiography Indian tradition. We have already discussed different frameworks of Indian historiography. So this is a last framework of Indian historiography. So let's see what it is exactly. What is the style of historiography or the writing of historical narrative in post-independence era that we are going to discuss over here. Now, along with the writing, the dynastic history, the cultural, social, economic histories were also being written. Okay, so since there is a development in the field of historiography, initially it is start from the writing of dynastic histories. Now it is written on the basis of cultural, social, economic framework also. Okay, scholars of post-independence era began to feel the need of writing history of various communities, sciences, economic systems, then political ideologies, cultural aspects, etc. The historiography of this era has been influenced mainly by three ideological schools. The first one is Marxist history, second one is subaltern history, and third one is feminist history. So remember these three schools or three ideological schools on which this pre-independence era historiography is based on. Let's discuss with this Marxist history. So what is this Marxist history? It is a ideology based on Karl Marx theory. Okay, Karl Marx theory of class struggle. We have already discussed this theory. There are two classes in the society according to Karl Marx. One is the haves means ahire, and another one is the haves not means nahire. And if there is a very huge gap between these haves and haves not, then Karl Marx theory says that we haves not they attack on haves. They used to snatch everything which are there with haves, and they used to distribute these things among all the people. So that is a revolution made by has not in the society. Okay, so this is a theory by Marx. So on this theory there is a ideological framework in history known as Marxist history. The concern for the means of production, modes of production, and the industrial relation were at the center of, in writing of Marxist historians. Okay, so ये जो Marxist historians थे या मार्क्स की आइडियोलॉजी के ऊपर हिस्ट्री लिखने वाले जो भी हिस्टोरियंस थे, उनके जो भी हिस्टोरिकल राइटिंग थी उसके सेंटर में ये तीन चीजें थी: मीन्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, मोड्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन और इंडस्ट्रियल रिलेशंस ड्यूरिंग द हिस्टोरिकल इरा. सो दीज थिंग्स कवर अंडर Marxist history by Marxist historians. Remember this thing. Accordingly, to analyze the impact of every social event of significance has remained the basic theme of Marxist historiography. Okay, Marxist historian in India studied the transition within the caste system. Among the noble Indian historians who adopted Marxist ideology framework, scholars like Damodar Dharmananda Koshambi, then we have Comrade Shibat Amrut Dange, then we have Ram Sharan Sharma, Comrade Sharad Patil. They have contributed notably in the field of Marxist history. Comrade Dange was one of the founder member of Indian Communist Party. Primitive Communism to Slavery, the book written by him, represents Marxist historiography. So this is a very famous book, Primitive Communism to the Slavery. Okay, slavery means what? Gulamgiri. So he want to apply this old communism tactics to abolish the slavery. So that's why his book name is Primitive Communism to Slavery. So I hope it is clear to you about the Marxist history. Basically, you have to remember what is the class struggle, what are the different classes exist in our society, that is haves and has not. Okay, and based on that class struggle theory, there are many historians who wrote the history of after independence era of India. So such a historians, they are known as Marxist historians. Okay, then we have subaltern history. What do you mean by this word subaltern? Subaltern, the subcategory or substrata of our society is known as subaltern, and the history about that strata is known as subaltern history. The seeds of subaltern history are found in the Marxist historiography itself. The role of Italian historians Antonio Gramsci, okay, is a very important in developing the idea that history should be written starting from the bottommost rank of people in the society. So remember this name, the Italian historian named as Antonio Gramsci. So he is the founder of this subaltern historiography, and he has strong opinion that it is an important criteria while writing the history that we should have to write history from bottommost rank of people in our society. So how the life of these people during this historical era that we have to mention in our historical writing, and then we have to move towards the upper strata of society. So that's the thing told by this particular person. Okay, in fact subaltern means bottommost rank. So this is the meaning of subaltern, the bottommost rank. Okay, folklore has been considered as a very important source of writing subaltern histories. Folklore means what? लोकगीते. ये तो राजा महाराजा नहीं ना गाते लोकगीत, जो भी कॉमन लोग होते हैं वही वो लोकगीत गाते हैं। जो भी सोसाइटी का मेजोरिटी ऑफ पार्ट होता है वो कॉमन लोगों से ही बना होता है ना। जो अमीर लोग होते हैं, जमींदार होते हैं, बड़े बड़े सरदार होते हैं, किंग होते हैं, ये तो मुट्ठी भर लोग होते हैं। लेकिन ज़्यादातर लोग जो होते हैं वो आम आदमी होते हैं, तो उनके बारे में जो भी कथाएं होती है या उनके कल्चर उनकी संस्कृति के बारे में जो भी चीज़ें होती है वो फोकलोर्स में से ही हिस्ट्री में मतलब फोकलोर में से ही हमें समझ पाते हैं हम लोग उनकी संस्कृति कैसी थी, उनका कल्चर कैसा था। सो दैट्स व्हाई दिस फोकलोर इट इज कंसिडर एज अ इम्पोर्टेंट सोर्स ऑफ राइटिंग सबाल्टन हिस्ट्रीज। रंजित गुहा, an Indian historian, played a major role in establishing subaltern history as an important academic school of historiography. Remember this name, very important. The Ranjit Guha, he is an Indian historian who played major role in establishing the subaltern history as an important academic school of historiography. Okay. However, we may point out that much before the onset of subaltern ideology, similar thought were expressed by Mahatma Jyotirao Phule and Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Okay, so these two famous personality, they are before the independence era. Mahatma Phule, they are before independence era, but Ambedkar, he was after independence era also. So remember, but though he is there in after independence of our country, but previous to this particular Ranjit Guha's ideology, they have studied about the subaltern history, but they didn't mention the history under title of subaltern history. Remember this thing. मतलब क्या है कि ये जो subaltern ideology है, इसको एक subaltern history ऐसा एक उसका nomenclature होने से पहले भी उस बारे में ये दो लोगों ने पढ़ाई करके रखी थी या उनके बुक में वैसा नरेटिव उन्होंने ऐड किया था. सो दैट्स द थिंग बेसिकली दे वांट टू टेल ओवर हियर. ओके, द महात्मा फुले अनफोल्डेड द हिस्ट्री ऑफ Shudrati Shudra. Okay, what do you mean by Shudra? The lower caste people, the untouchable people, they are the Shudras at that time. Okay, so he unfolded the history of Shudrati Shudra communities in his book known as Gulamgiri. The name of this book is Gulamgiri. He drew attention to the exploitation of women, Shudras, and Ati Shudras done under the name of religion. Okay, so there are many rituals in different religion. Okay, and they used to economically and socially exploit the people who are below poverty line, who are Shudras, the women and Ati Shudras. Okay, so these people get exploited by these different upper caste people under the name of religion. So that is highlighted by Mahatma Jyotirao Phule in his book Gulamgiri. Okay, then the term Shudra and Ati Shudra indicates the bottommost rank of caste system. Okay, Shudra means the lower caste, and Ati Shudra means the much lower caste than this Shudra. If you see the lower caste people also, they have the hierarchy in that in their own caste. Means suppose there are Shudras, the strata of Shudras. If you go towards that people, they are also saying that we are the upper caste Shudra, then we have some middle class Shudra, then we have Ati Shudras also in our caste. So already the caste is hierarchy, caste hierarchy is there, and there are many sub hierarchy in that individual hierarchy. Okay, if you have seen the Article 15 movie, then you can able to understand these terms very properly. If you didn't seen that movie, then do watch this movie. You will get the uh, very well understanding of these terms. Okay, the role of people belonging to Dalit caste in is a very significant in shaping of various cultural and political aspects of India. So these people, Dalit caste people, they have a very significant role in shaping various cultural and political aspect of our country. However, their role was not duly acknowledged in the colonial and nationalistic historiography. So this is the major problem regarding the historical role of these Dalit people. So that's why Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar focusing on the fact, and he consistently wrote about the history of this subaltern group. Two of his book, that is a Who Were Shudras and the second one The Untouchables, may be cited as an example of history of subaltern type. So remember these two books written by Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar, that is a Who were Shudras, and second one, The Untouchables. So these two books, they are cited as, means they are a very good examples of this subaltern type of history. Then the third type is the feminist history. So what is a feminist history? It is a history about the role of women in history. Okay, so there are many women in our society. They gave their contribution in various social reform, remarriage of widows, then the education of girl child. So they gave their contribution in such a fields, and the history about their life, or history about the standard of women in society, or the history of empowerment of women in society. So it is comes under this feminist historiography. Let's see what it is exactly. Over a significant period of time, mainly male scholars were involved in writing of Indian history. So this is a very important point over here, that significant period of time, mainly the male scholar, the male persons, they are only involved in writing of Indian history. There were very few female writers. Okay, as a result, role and achievement of women in history remained neglected. तो वहाँ पे कोई वुमन थी नहीं वो हिस्ट्री लिखने वाली, तो उनका जो रोल था, ऐतिहासिक रोल था, उसको एक निग्लिजेंस हो गया उसकी तरफ, एक निग्लेक्टेड वे में वो रह गया. To highlight this fact was a major task faced by feminist historians. Okay. Also, it was important to study and compile the historical writing of women. Okay. So that we can able to understand the history properly. We can apply the historical frameworks in today's world more properly. So it was also necessary to rethink the woman's position in history. Okay, and that's why this feminist history is a very important part of historiography. Among women authors writing about women in 19th century CE, Tarabai Shinde was the famous one. So remember this name, Tarabai Shinde. Okay, was the foremost one. Means he is a initial woman who write about the status of women in the society. She wrote attacking the male dominated social system and the caste system in her book known as Sri Purush Tulna. Okay, so this Sri Purush Tulna book written by Tarabai Shinde, she is a social reformer, so and a historian also. She wrote this Sri Purush Tulna book, and she attacked the male dominated social system and the caste system in our society. Okay, so this book was published in 1882, acknowledged as the first feminist book in India. Remember, there might be question in your exam that which is the first feminist book in the Indian historiography. So it is a Sri Purush Tulna. In 1888, the book was written by Pandita Ramabai, also published. It is entitled as The High Caste Hindu Woman. Okay, so though there are the caste hierarchy, but in that caste hierarchy also women they used to suffer a lot because of different social and religious practices. Okay, so that's why this Pandita Ramabai, she wrote this particular book, that is a high caste Hindu woman. Okay, the feminist literature of the post independence era concentrated on the issues like empowerment of women. Okay, so what issues they cover in their book, that is also very important. So remember this thing, empowerment of women, then the treatment meted out to them at their workplace. Okay, so what should be the treatment of women at their workplace, or what exactly the women were treated during that time, so that also they included in their book. Their right to political equality, etc. Among the recently published feminist literature, Meera Koshambi's book Crossing Threshold, feminist essay in social history is of importance. Okay, सो मीरा कौशंबी नाम की भी एक फेमिनिस्ट लिटरेचर है, रिसेंटली उनका एक बुक पब्लिश हुआ, उसका नाम है क्रॉसिंग थ्रेशोल्ड, फेमिनिस्ट एसे इन सोशल हिस्ट्री. सो इट इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट to know the feminist history. Okay, it contains essay on life stories of women like Pandita Ramabai, Dr. Rakhmabai, the first practicing lady doctor of India. Okay, so this Dr. Rakhmabai, remember about her. It is a first practicing lady doctor of India. So Anandibai Joshi was the first doctor, but she did not able to practice because when she came to India, she can able to live at very small duration because of some illness. She died uh, soon. She came from foreign to our country. Okay, so after her there was a Rakhmabai, Dr. Rakhmabai. She was the first practicing lady doctor. Remember this thing. Okay, a lot of literature is available unfolding the viewpoint of Dalit women in Maharashtra. Dr. Sharmila Rege's work is noteworthy in this context. Okay, so there are different books who gives idea about the Dalit women in Maharashtra. So Dr. Sharmila Rege's book, it is a noteworthy in that particular context. Remember this thing. Then her book is known as Writing Caste, Writing Gender. Okay, reading Dalit women testimonies. What do you mean by testimonies? The grievances or the experiences of these Dalit women. Okay, includes her essay on autobiographies of Dalit women. Okay, so this particular book includes the Dalit women's testimonies or about their autobiographies. So in this way, we have discussed about the feminist historiography, then the Marxist historiography and subaltern historiography, which are the three major conceptual framework of pre-independence historiography. So I hope you understood all these three conceptual framework. Let's discuss about this particular fact. Publication of Marathi Riyasat by Govinda Sakaram Sardesai was a momentous achievement in the field of Indian historiography. His work became so famous that people began to address him as a Riyasatkar. He published several volumes of Maratha history. Remember the name Govinda Sakaram Sardesai. Okay, he is a very famous historian. He wrote Marathi Riyasat. Okay, he wrote about the Marathi Riyasat in his book, and it was so famous that uh, after the name of his book, he is known as Riyasatkar by the people. Okay, there have been a number of Indian historians who wrote without embarrassing a particular ideology. Okay, among them, historians like Sir Jadunath Sarkar, Surendranath Sen, Riyasatkar G.S. Sardesai, and Trambak Shankar Shezwalkar are noteworthy. So there are different people in our society who don't get embrace into a particular ideology. Okay, so they don't focus on any ideology, but they still wrote down the narrative of history from this different perspective or from neutral thinking. In recent time, historians like Yashwant Dinkar Phadke, then Ramchandra Guha, etc., have contributed extensively to historiography of modern India. So remember these two names. Then thus it is evident that Indian historiography has been influenced greatly by social and political movement. It seems that some part of the Indian historiography was also developed outside the influence of these movements. Okay, while studying the historiography, that we came to conclusion that Indian historiography it is greatly influenced by social and political movements in society. But it seems in some part that Indian historiography was also developed outside the influence of these particular movements. Okay, so though there is a great influence of this social and political movement, but some part of history is still because of some other influence. Okay, so remember these particular things, the facts which we have studied in this chapter. I hope guys you have enjoyed the entire series of historiography which we had studied over here. So if you enjoyed the session, do like the session, share with your friend, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel so you will get the notification on time. So enjoy your learning and have a nice day. Thank you friends.